Hey pals, it's your best buddy Stu. It's alright if I'm not your best buddy, I understand. I've seen some more films from the London Film Festival, and one of those was the latest Joanna Hogg film, The Eternal Daughter, which stars Tilda Swinton twice. I don't need any more intro. 2 Tilda Swintons in one movie! So, The Eternal Daughter, latest from Joanna Hogg, who brought us The Souvenir and The Souvenir Part II most recently. 2 banger films. She's a great director. And she's back again with another kind of semi-autobiographical look at relationships in the form of a ghost story. You've piqued my interest. Again starring Tilda Swinton as both mother and daughter. My interest is not just piqued, my guy. It's through the fucking roof. And after watching this, yes, it was absolutely a Joanna Hogg film. I had a really good time with this one. The general premise of this one is that a daughter takes her mother to this big old hotel, which feels like a stupidly haunted, big, creepy old house, for birthday celebrations, and something's feeling off. Getting a little bit spooky mysterious up in that place. And listen, this is a very slow and deliberately paced film from Hogg, which isn't too surprising, but I did really like seeing her sensibilities and approach played out in this kind of ghost story format. And on that note, the atmosphere was just immaculate in this thing. It's definitely the strongest thing this film has going for it. Just the setting of this thing, the way that Hogg moves throughout this space with central performances from Swinton. It's just an incredibly beguiling atmosphere throughout. And add to that Ed Rutherford's really stunning cinematography. This thing just has a feel to it which is quite creepy and unsettling. I do think the pace of this one does threaten to undermine some of that, and it definitely does feel like, I suppose, the most I've felt the pace in a Joanna Hogg film as of late. But thankfully, she has a secret weapon up her sleeve, ×2 with Tilda Swinton. Listen, I've made it very explicit on the channel and on my socials everywhere how much I love Tilda Swinton. She's incredible. She's easily the best actress of our time. And so obviously, watching 2 performances from her in a film was never going to be anything other than just completely captivating. And it is. She is amazing in this film. I love watching her version of Julie navigate this film. I thought she was just immensely watchable in that character. You never really know exactly what's going on or what she's feeling or what she's gone through, but she says a lot with just how she moves around the space and how she presents herself. Good stuff from Tilda there. But I equally loved her Rosalind here. I mean, she played Rosalind in The Souvenir, but this is obviously a different sort of look at that same character-ish, I think. One of the amazing things about Tilda that she's got a very kind of malleable presence when it comes to gender, when it comes to age. She can play old and younger in the same film and not feel like we're watching just Tilda twice. I mean, some people will argue that we are, but I'm not listening to them. But honestly, watching Tilda talk to Tilda, right? The dialogue between Tilda and Tilda at the same table in this film, in those scenes, I could have watched that for hours, honestly. I think the film is incredibly lucky to have those 2 central performances on its tool belt here. Without them, I'm not entirely convinced that this would have been as captivating a film, but it does have them. So with those, it does do a lot of great work to pull all of the atmosphere together and to pull the narrative threads together. And the narrative of this one does feel relatively simple. I'll be honest, I kind of knew where this thing was going to end up going quite early on, but I don't think that that necessarily was a problem for the film. Joanna Hogg as a director is quite clearly not as interested in the bigger plot points here as much as she is these characters and mining them for their emotions and what the sort of quieter stuff around them suggests to us as an audience. She's got a fantastic ability to draw that out for us as an audience, and whilst this isn't the most effective I've seen her do that, it does still do a really good job at pulling out emotional threads. One thing that did slightly frustrate me about the film, that is another sort of, let's call it a Hoggism, it's a fun word, Hoggism, yeah, is the inclusion of the kind of more slightly meta elements. This film doesn't get anywhere near as meta as something like The Souvenir Part II does, but there is another meta element to this in Julie being a film director, writing a script while she's there at this hotel with her mum, and the film being a film about her and her mum going to a hotel. And it does weave that into the film. We do see her writing elements of the film in a screenplay in the film. I'm not entirely sure that the film even needed that. I think the film says what it needs to say and does what it needs to do without that. It's good just being a very slow burn ghost story with these two characters at the front of it. Good stuff. Not quite to the levels of her previous stuff, but an interesting enough little ghost story here. But what about you guys? Have you caught The Eternal Daughter at the film festival? Have you caught it anywhere else in the year? It's not just showing in London, because that's how films work. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. We'll have a little chat. And if you do fancy following me on socials, you can find links to that down there. Things like Letterboxd, Twitter. Hey, I'm on them. Go follow me. You might regret it. And of course, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future film festival reviews. We've got a butt ton dropping. I'll see you guys very soon for some more thoughts on more films. But until next time, Tilda, you need to stop this. How can one woman have this much power?